Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of R.C.W. Top 10. This weekend, as you see on the title, we're going to be counting down the top 10 charismatic superstars. Now, this is in a lot of my own opinion. Now, I've ran the list through one person and asked a small opinion of a second. So, this is going to be roughly, generally opinionated. So basically, charismatic means that you're liked for no other reason than people like you. It's pretty hard when people hate you on the first day to be charismatic at all. Sometimes charismatic can be doing things that people like and you didn't mean to do, but if you're going out there looking for people to love you and all that kind of stuff, that usually doesn't put you in a charismatic situation. Likeable, yes. Charismatic, no. So let's get to number 10. Coming in at number 7 is Noobman for similar reasons of Damon, but there's less controversy surrounding the guy. Now, he has been an NXT champion before. He has accomplished that nevertheless. But he has a tad on the lower side of accomplishments from Damon. But those two working together could be tag team champions. Anything they need. But my point is, Damon has less Noobman has less accomplishments to be hated for, and as we all know, the success of others usually leads to the jealousy and hatred of other people unless you're absolutely beloved. Now, they can hinder your, ability to be beloved without really doing much, but nevertheless, I'd say that Noobman comes slightly above Damon in this situation for no other reason other than people might hate Damon for the stuff that he's accomplished instead of those that hate him. So that's Noobman coming in at number 7. Coming in at number 10 is Mater the Great. 1, 2, 3. Now, the reason that he's so much lower than some people think he could be is, yes, he has gotten massive amounts of cheers and has been a fan favorite in certain matches. But you duly note that these superstars are that of Eddie Armour, Rabid Cool Tough Guy, and Kids Rock 4, who you also have to note were in the top, roughly, I think, top 4 or 5 of the most hated of all time. So, being instantly liked against top 4 of the few highest, or 3 of the few highest hated, isn't going to get you too charismatic. But nevertheless, the guy is somewhat likable for not attempting to be a likable person. So that's Mater the Great coming in at number 10. Coming in at number 9 is Mam Honky. Now, it's debatable that 8 and 9 should switch, and if you say so, I totally agree. But 8 and 9 are roughly the same. So, Mam Honky, like his partner, has been quite charismatic in matches, most of which come with hated people. And if he's not against a hated people, because grammar matters, but if he's not against a hated person, then he's generally going to get a mediocre amount of support. His teammates will support him, but, other people won't support him as much. Nevertheless, he's a quite likable guy if you really get to it, but as of late, with title hunts, it's quite hard to be liked by everyone that there is. So, that is Mam Honky coming in at number 9. Coming in at number 8 is Damon. Don't even remember the numbers. I think it's like 128553. I'm going to take a guess at that. Anyway, now the guy is quite likable. Like I said, he could tie with Mam, who's at number 9, or, switch spots. But I don't know. This is just personal, I guess. Doesn't really matter. But the guy is generally likable, and the only people that hate him are a lot of his competition. And generally, people get, hated by their own competition quite often as rivalries go. So, without other reasons than that, Damon is fairly likable in the NXT and SmackDown roster, as he's both the NXT and Cruiserweight champion, but it is controversial to say that if you went to win something such as United States, Intercontinental, that, it could be a little bit different of a story, and he might lose a bit of the charisma that people have for him, or likability that people have for him. But nevertheless, Damon, 128553, damn, those are confusing numbers, come in at number 8. Coming in at number 6, this one's actually a tie because this was a rivalry that happened, and it came down to 2 different people. Derek Martel Rose and Kyrie Irving, the rivalry for the NXT Championship. I myself found in the beginning that I was on Kyrie's side, but as times eventually switched over, Derek became quite a favorite, with Derek having a Sami Zayn-esque rise to fame for the NXT Championship against Kyrie Irving, failing in the early going just before Royal Rumble, and eventually accomplishing his dream of being the NXT champion after beating what seemed to be a landslide against Kyrie Irving in quite a match. Now, you were either really chanting RVD as Kyrie Irving. That was not even rhyming at all. You were either chanting RVD as Kyrie Irving came out, or you were cheering for Derek to finally capture the NXT Championship, and it really depended on which one you liked more. But nevertheless, two quite likable superstars off the beginning, and that's Derek Martel Rose and Kyrie Irving. Coming in at number 5 is Franklin Clinton. Now, some people have recently started to get some heat against the guy, and in the early going had some heat against the guy. But something that people might have noticed was that on the wall, he can be just hilarious. With his insight like a critic of R.C.W. content that he watches on the R.C.W. network, I presume. Shout out to Franklin as book. Anyway, but every single time analyzing the bye-bye faces, as that video says, go watch Franklin, best of Franklin comments, or the nasty heels, as he would say, he just analyzes it all and has such an insight that people just love to hate, hate to love, and all kinds of different in-betweens. So, for those reasons, it's got to be quite likable for Franklin. I mean, who else has insight on these things in such a funny and exuberant way? So, for those reasons, Franklin Clinton 142 comes in at number 5. Coming in at number 4 is Pretty. Now, no, I actually am excluding this as a complete thing entirely. This is not Triple Rock we're talking about, because on 2 separate accounts, it was 2 separate likabilities. Triple Rock, however, used to be a bit more begging for title matches. I think he acknowledges that he used to beg for title matches, and he was kind of desperate to get in everything that there was. I mean, you can't blame the guy in the early going. Everybody wants to get their early grabs at championships before the going gets tough, but that was the, experience Pretty had in the beginning. And then eventually transformed into an account called Pretty Boy 1524, where he started the Nexus, and ever since the Nexus, you just can't really hate the guy. Now, as of late, with all this attention surrounding him as Road WWE Champion, a big contender in tag team contest, and with his recent claims to start a pay-per-view winning streak starting with Django, controversy starts to surround, but all in all, a lot of people like him, and it's not too many people that don't like him, but anyone that likes him would probably team with him in any scenario possible. So that is Pretty Boy 1524, and not Triple Rock, coming in at number 4. Coming in at number 3 is Generations and Gorsha. Now, Gorsha is for separate reasons than Generations, but quite equally likable. Some people just don't like Gorsha because they just don't like Gorsha. There's never going to be a guy that's loved by everyone, because a guy that's loved by everyone will be hated by those that hate everybody that loves him, because that's exactly a quote. I'm damn sure of it. Right now, puts $5 on the table. I'm betting it. Slides over. Anyway, Generations is sort of out of focus of the spotlight, but still, when he comes out on top, you can't see a guy for miles that hates it other than the runner-up. The guy that Jen was able to outdo, or the people that ended up tying to get him to victorious, or the guy that he beat, whatever, those are usually the only people that hate him, and they only hate him for a short period of time. I can't think of many examples that actually hate him permanently. I don't personally know any. And Gorsha, who with his very passionate gimmick of Ric Flair that looks nothing like Ric Flair, yet plays it so perfectly, he says woo more than I did in Road WWE, and all in all, he's won wheelin', dealin', jet flying, I don't know the phrase. Anyway, he's Gorsha, Ric Flair. So how can you hate either of the two? It's Generations and Gorsha, coming in at number 3. Coming in at number 2 is Spency, 18, and Grumpy Gunner. Now, it's hard to put Grumpy Gunner on this list at number 1. I think if he can continue with this passion, that he could definitely pull the same things as number 1 does, but there's a specific reason as to why number 1 is number 1. So in this list, I'm going to say number 1 is a definitive, but the ranks below it can be swapped out. And obviously, Spency 18. Around pre-Hall of Fame, everybody wanted this guy in Hall of Fame. Even the guys that love to hate everybody around them still loved Spency. People also love Grumpy Gunner. Now, there's going to be the hate. Like I said, there's going to be the haters that hate him because he's loved. Again, totally quote, lays down another $5. Test me, bitch. Anyway, Spency 18 was sort of a more funny, laid-back guy. Sort of like Viper, but less of a successful person, you know what I mean? Like, didn't have all the accolades and all the accomplishments that he had, but was still laid back and was like Viper. So it was like all the love that you could have given to Viper minus the controversy, which is what makes him likable. Whereas Grumpy Gunner is likable because, well, I don't know, enough attention on the network, the passion of what he does, the fact that he's such a decent fighter and is on his phone, and just generally all the support that the fans show to him. Same for Spency. Put them both, Spency 18 and Grumpy Gunner, at number 2. And coming in at number 1, you had to see this one coming. It is Manus 320. This guy has had C Nation following him for like months, like 3/4 of a year. People, even if there's only one person or if there's 20, he has had a C Nation following him. Whether it's Dean Ambrose, Lunatic, Tiresome Pew, Damon, Noobman, Queen, Bionic, there's so many people that follow in his footsteps as Cena because he was Cena, and some that want to be Cena but don't want to admit that it's because of him, or people that just want to be Cena for the fun of it. But you get my point. A lot of them follow in his lead because he's so passionate to his Cena gimmick. Hopefully something that he, like John Cena, will never give up. The guy has been John Cena since November of 2013. Since his debut, this guy has been the ultra-passionate John Cena that, well, like the real John Cena, has hustle, loyalty, respect, and will never give up. He truly got all his charisma around the pre-King of the Ring when he got more fan support than by far I think anybody has ever gotten. Ever. People follow him during his entrance, even though they know they can be disqualified. They will follow him in his entrance just to watch him, and I quote, "throw his hat." And I hope that never changed too. So many funny things, such as his Rafflecopter going soy soy soy, or no scoping, or 360, or MLG. So many things that make this guy so funny. Yet you can take him seriously because he's one of the most accomplished in history. He's talented. It's just generally hard to hate this guy, other than jealousy. So I put Manus 320 at number 1 for all those reasons, and there's probably more, but I don't want to take too long. Thank you, R.C.W, for checking out this episode of R.C.W Top 10. I always feel such a serious feeling during the top 10 when I'm doing like the 1 to 10 kind of thing, and then when I'm finished, it's like, okay, all I gotta do is record an outro. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of corrections on this list, so I encourage you to make your own top 10. Make it in the form of a video. Make it in the form of writing if you're too lazy. Doesn't matter to me. I want to hear your opinion on this, but I'm sure you don't agree on this list, like Watch Mojo lists pretty much all of them. Anyway, make sure to check out daily content on the R.C.W network, Sunday through Saturday. I'm done working on weekends, and I apologize that this came out so late, but I had no time at friggin' Friday. I had to work on Friday, I had to work on Saturday, and I got home early on Sunday, but I immediately had to run a show because I came here at like 1:45. And I apologize if you find this list to be wrong, but like I said, if you think it's wrong, make your own. It's as simple as that. I hope you enjoyed this list, and thank you, R.C.W Universe. I am Kids Rock 4. You can see a little bit of light in the bottom corner. I'm Kids Rock 4, and I'm approving this message.